Hello everyone. It's me, NYSE Einstein from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. It is Wednesday, it is hump day, and this market is absolutely wild. It never disappoints. If you're a day trader, this is a ruthless market of volatility to be in the middle of. I've always been a firm believer that you've got to take profits where you can get them. You cannot wish this market to move in any direction you don't want it to. It is sort of a lackluster midsummer day. It's been that way for a few weeks, and there is little liquidity within the marketplace. So when people need to move the market, they can. When news comes out and headline drives the market, it can happen. And gauging from what we've got coming out of Washington, and we've got coming out of Europe, and we've got coming out of the rest of the world, solid growth in earnings, solid earnings reports, solid expectations, offset by fear of trade wars and tariffs and whatnot, can create a wild ride. This market is a wild ride. Today we were sort of negative and weak off of, sort of underperforming Boeing with third and fourth quarter guidance being poor. That dragged that Dow down to 60 to 100 points after yesterday's positive outlook. So we've got within a couple of day period, within a day, within an hour, we see complete reversals of narrative. Yesterday the market was up. Stocks that had exposure to tariffs and trade, stocks that had exposure to Europe and China were up, and the market was up and we were on fire. Today the narrative flipped. Boeing came out with third and fourth quarter estimates that were fearful, guidance fearful, and took the market down. All morning we were down, market was weak. You look at it, we were red, flat line off the opening. And then what happened? It turns out that Mr. Trump had a meeting with the head of the EU, okay? And suddenly around 3 o'clock, I'm not sure exactly what time it happened, I would say around 3:30, boom! A deal was made with the EU about tariffs. We completely flip-flopped on a completely stalwart approach to this whole tariff thing, that we were going to stick to it and that we were going to war and they were going to do it our way and whatnot. That disappeared. Mr. Trump, the art of the deal, made a deal with the head of the EU as far as buying U.S. soybeans, about taking away obstacles to trade wars, obstacles to tariffs, obstacles to trade, let's say that. And that we were suddenly on base for a beautiful, wonderful vacation in the Caribbean together, the U.S. and the EU. Now this is not the U.S. and China, this is the U.S. and EU. We're now lovers, we're now friends, we're now all in bed together, rolling around with a bunch of soybeans, and everything's wonderful. The market went from down 20 to up 180, a complete reversal. The S&P went up 26 handles, the Russell back up in the green territory, crude up 75 cents, the market up 200 points, the Dow Jones Industrial Average at 24.5. So, what can I say? If you're trading it intraday, be careful. If you're on the wrong side, cover and go long. The trend is your friend. Momentum's the name of the game. The transports were up 250 points. Once this deal was made with the EU, it can completely retrace all negative narrative, and this market was on fire. You did not want to get in the way of that. If you look at the screen behind me, you'll see that huge spike up at 320. That was the deal being made. The art of the deal, I won't even get into it. I love you all. That's how we ended up today at 25.4. Get your Dow 30,000 hats ready. Giddy up. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. NYSE Einstein, Inside First Off. I love you all.